is my friend. When I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above.
All the world is my friend. When I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. All the world is my friend. When I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. All the world is my friend. When I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. All the world is my friend. When I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above.
We'll hear a talk by Swamiji. It's about 5 minutes on divine friendship.
When people come here and feel that, wonderful. But remember that just feeling it isn't enough. Just thinking, I've seen this happen. I've seen it happen especially in groups that are very sort of emotional in their taking everybody to their hearts. I sort of had this feeling at Findhorn the first time I went there that the unwritten motto there was, if it moves, hug it. And it just seemed like you couldn't turn a corner without being waylaid by somebody who was there to hug you. And some people feel a sort of a great, oh, how wonderful, this great sort of all-embracing human warmth. But an emotional feeling like that is it's not arriving. That's the thing, that you get into the delusion that you've arrived, because here's a group of people who love me so much and they're so warm and everything's going to be all right from now on. Well, any group that gives you that feeling too quickly is likely to give you the delusion of compromise, to think, well, it's all set, I don't need to do anything more. I'd much rather be in an environment where there's challenge, where there's the need to growth. Master didn't, it was obvious that he loved us, but I never saw him expressing that kind of love to people who hadn't yet learned to meet him on a high spiritual level, people who approached him and related to him in an egoic way, got less from him, not inwardly, but it's sort of like if you're pouring tea into various teacups and somebody comes up with a little tiny dollhouse teacup, well, how much tea can you pour? He had all this love to give, but if they didn't have large enough hearts to receive, then how much could he give? And so he would only give a little bit. I remember him saying to one of the monks there, this is Andy, he's my baby. And he sort of shocked Andy a little bit when he said that. And then he said, I call him that because I'm babying him. Then he turned to Andy, he said, you don't mind if I say that, do you? Oh, no, sir. he was giving Andy that kind of ego balm that he needed because he was so easily hurt. But he was also trying to gently suggest that, are you really satisfied with that? Don't you want to accept the challenge to your ego that will finally mean its destruction? Can you take that? He was saying it in a very gentle way to nudge Andy's conscience to say, to start thinking that, well, gee, maybe I don't want to be babied anymore. Maybe it's time I started getting into this fray like a warrior and ignoring my petty and silly ego demands. And at that point, Master would have treated him for a while perhaps more strictly. But then there would have come, as Andy had come out, or as any disciple came out of that ego enclosure, there would have come that total acceptance where they understood one another, where they could relate together on that plane, and there wasn't that constant misunderstanding where perhaps Master would first, to a new disciple, look at him, and the disciple would start looking at his feet, and gosh, is he looking at me kind of attitude. There would come that total and real friendship. Well, a group that gives you growth, a group that will not give you ego balm and flattery, is a much better kind of group to get into. Don't be fooled by a mere emotional scene, but look for that kind of deep inner attunement that comes from the soul.
Welcome again, everyone. This is such a wonderful topic, and I think Swamiji just really clarified a lot about divine friendship. I was remembering when I lived in Italy that the way to greet people is they kiss you on both cheeks. And it seemed like no matter how many times they saw you in a day, people were kissing you. And I just couldn't wait to get out of that scene. And in America, everybody hugs you all the time. And I was so glad when I came to India, and it was very much inside. And maybe it's changing now, but I was so happy to just go namaskar. I was just so dignified and so in the spine and so correct. But there are so many points on this topic of divine friendship. I'll cover some today, but it's a wonderful topic to meditate on. Master said, if you can't win the love of your fellow man, how can you win the love of God? And so there has to be an openness, a receptivity in yourself, a magnetism really to draw divine friendship. Not so much friends, because people think, oh, that's my friend, it's not your friend. I have 2 friends, you have 5 or whatever. But it's the magnetism of divine friendship, of God coming into your life, and that your dearest friend, really is Divine Mother coming through that friend. Your dearest friend and your family, your closest relative, your wife, your husband, your child, is Divine Mother coming through them. And people get lost in the emotions. Oh, he hurt me, he didn't call me, why? You know, and I see this a lot, honestly. You said the wrong thing, and the person doesn't come back, or, it's not deep. And divine friendship it's beyond the personality, it's beyond how you look and where you're from. And it's a deep inner bond spiritually. And that's what we have to look for. That's what we have to put out to be able to draw that. In worldly life, people think, what about me? What am I getting? What can I get from that person? If I give this, will they give me? Will I become special to them? Will they like me more? And this isn't true friendship. It certainly isn't divine friendship. And divine friendship is for the joy of giving. I give out of love. I give out of joy. And if you think of seva that you do, it's why do you do seva? We do seva because we love doing, we love serving, we love giving. And we don't think, oh, okay, I do this because I get 5 good karma points. And I do this, I get 10 more karma points. But you do it out of love. And so friendship is the same. We just express divine love. And it's not personal. It's not, I remember Daviji said she was getting very personal at a certain time with Swamiji. And he said, listen, no one is more special than anyone to me. And I've heard people here go, oh, this is special, he's special, I'm special. You're not special, honestly. Only in God's eyes, Divine Mother takes us in her arms and shows us that she loves us. But if we get into ego, this is my friend, he's not your friend, Swamiji loved me more than he loved you. And it's just a game, really. And Swamiji said to her, no one's more special to me. He said, I'm not even special to myself. I mean, my goodness, think about it. Because there was no self there to be special too. And so for us on the spiritual path, really, if you go anywhere for Ananda, first of all, you go to Ananda and Assisi, you'll find friends everywhere because we're all part of Master's ray of light and his spiritual family. You go to Ananda in America, you'll find wonderful friends everywhere. And when I first went to Ananda, I didn't know a soul. And I remember I got there and I thought I'd just be kind of by myself and nobody would, everyone, how can we help you? Where are you from? We're so happy you're here. And that extends out to others as well. I mean, I was new there, but I recall Daviji telling the beautiful story of someone arriving at the meditation retreat once who was late at night. There was no schedule and there was not even a phone there at the time. People just showed up. So someone showed up late in the night and you know, she was part of the staff. So she got up and she was, you know, helping that person. Then she found out they didn't even have a sleeping bag to sleep first. They didn't really have a good place. They got a tent. They gave them a tent, but there wasn't any indoor housing. Everything was full. So she got her sleeping bag and gave it. Now, did she think, okay, oh, I'm getting good karma because I'm giving this person? And no, it was out of the kindness of the heart she did that. And so in divine friendship, we're not looking for anything back. I think the things that have touched me the most were so many beautiful instances here in India. I mean, all over the world, but in India, I remember one time I couldn't even hardly walk because of something that happened. And someone, I'll just say their name because they're so dear, Jayanti, she came over to where I was and she just didn't even really talk, just get it, I'm taking you. She just took me and to the Ayurvedic doctor, I believe it was Ayurvedic doctor. I never saw a bill, I never saw anything. It was just like, you are going. And that's what you need when someone's ill, someone's in the hospital, someone's dear one has passed away. You don't think about it. You just bring God's love through your heart and share it with that person. Send them a note, send them a WhatsApp, a picture, someone's kind of down. You give them a call or say, oh, I just read something of Swamiji's. Oh, did you hear the Swamiji talk? Did you hear Master's talk? And you just give. And I remember another very touching time when I was giving a program in another one of the centers down in Bangalore, and Roman Haridas ji were away, so they asked me to come, and I was happy to go there. But I didn't know the people. I didn't know anything what to do. Or I mean, of course I knew the schedule, but I didn't know anything more. And a dear friend met me at the airport, and Neha, and she said, oh, she was so excited, you know, it was like, this was a big thing. It wasn't like, oh yes, people are waiting. And she took me, had got the car, took me to the car, open the trunk. Here's your favorite foods. I'm going to be cooking for you all weekend. I've got the tickets to go see The Answer. We're going to sit there, here and there. And I mean, these kinds of things, nobody knows them. Nobody notices them, but God notices. And so not to try to put yourself out, just act as if Master were here, this is what I would do. If Swami were here guiding me, this is what I would do. And one thing to keep in mind is, I said it, but I want to say it again, keep your distance. Don't become overly familiar with people. Oh yeah, you always say that. Oh, I saw you did that before. You know, like you know them in and out. You don't know their soul. And always have respect for your friends, and don't belittle them. Don't, always be encouraging and supporting. And some of my best friends, I never see them. It's not like I'm friends with them because I talk to them every day on the phone from America. I don't talk to them. Some people I haven't seen for years, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years maybe. But do I feel them inside? Absolutely. I feel them in my heart. So what I'm saying is take it in your heart. Don't feel that every day somebody has to call you, every day they have to show up at your, they're not going to do it. You're looking for something that's not there. God is the love that you're looking for. God is the divine friend that you're looking for. Find it in meditation, find it in chanting, find it in spiritual study, find it in yourself. And then people will come around. Anyone is longing, craving for love, and oh God, it just never happens. Like is attracting like. And so there should always, I remember Swamiji was, as he said about Master, we knew Swamiji loved us, but you always felt you were in the presence of Master and God. You never dropped your energy. You were always centered, respectful. How can I help? Never kind of leaning on the back of the chair and, and disrespectful, saying the wrong things, but always hold up to the highest your friendship with people. That is what divine friendship is. And how do you find those friends? Well, there has to be, I recall, from meditation and from prayer. And Divine Mother brings those friends into your life, but it has to start inside yourself from meditation and prayer. And I would say my deepest friends, I meditate with them, have meditated for some years, served with them. We've been on projects together. We chant together, do kirtans together, laugh together, cry together. This is divine friendship. When I first got on the path, I was with another organization. And I just knew this wasn't my family. And I would just pray, where is my family? Where is my spiritual family? And then Master guided me to Ananda. I walked into Ananda, I looked around, and I knew that was my home. I knew these people. Nobody looked like me. Every people were from all over. And it was a hippie time, and it was just a very kind of a strange time, but I felt in my heart, this is where I need to be. This is my family. When I first came to India, I remember the very first class I did. I went downstairs, and some of you might be here who were at that class, and I just fell in love. I said, I know these people. And how did I know them? Nobody was running up, hugging me and all of this. It was just very much in the spine, but I knew from other lives. I wasn't psychic, but I could feel these are bonds. And why do we have those bonds? To be able to help each other on the spiritual path. This is what divine friendship is. Let me help my Guru Bhai. Let me help my brother, my sister on the path. What do they need? How can I help them? How can I be of a support? How can I encourage what they're doing? How can I send them a picture of Master, an excerpt from one of his talks? Always thinking, how can I help them find God? And sometimes friends come to you at different times. Many of my best friends have come to me in India. Half my life was, more than half my life was over, and I came to India. And I remember being in all those classes, level 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would look out and I would just, oh yeah, there's Ashish, oh, there's Jayanti, oh, there's Kantaji, oh, there's, I just would see Preeti and different ones. I would see them and I would say, I know them. And that call has to come from your heart. And then finally, Swamiji was everybody's best friend. I mean, don't limit it to us four no more. As you go about your day, your work, as you take a walk, whatever you do, and just put out an energy, a friendly energy. I don't mean running up to people or talking to everybody, but a friendly energy from a divine energy. Put that out to people. People will feel it. Swamiji would go to the malls here, and he would have on his ochre robes most of the time, and but nobody knew him. But people would come up to him and bow at his feet, and he would bless people there in the restaurants and the malls, and he would go into the shops in the mall, and you would wonder, now, why does he keep going to these shops? He would go in the same shops. Hello, how are you? Good morning. And when Swamiji passed away, I went to those places and I told them Swamiji had left his body, and they said, oh, he was my friend. This is what you want, that people they feel a friendly from God. It's a high relationship. Let us honor that as we go forth in divine friendship. God bless you. I'll ask Nitendra to come on now. We have just a few questions today.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. I'm going to share the questions and ask the first one. So the first question is, I feel alone these days since I cannot go out that much to visit with friends. What should I do to fill my heart?
Yes, I think I was addressing that. You have to fill your heart. I mean, we may be, who knows how long this COVID is going to last, but I think it's given everybody a chance to deepen their relationship with God. Nobody has an excuse now. I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to chant. I don't have time to study the teachings. I don't have time. Yes, you do have time. And if you use that time well, what you'll find is Divine Mother is there with you all the time. If you, Swamiji told me, as I said many times, if you love God, you never feel alone. And so for all of us, there are lonely times, but you fill them with God. And then this is the thing to do. Let Master be the guru. Just say, remember when Master found his friend Tulsi Bose, he prayed for a friend in a house that was, we could go and meditate that house. His house had a lot of children and noise, and he wanted a friend and a house to meditate and a friend to meditate with. And he met Tulsi Bose, and he went there and they would meditate together. They would levitate together even, I've been told, at that house. But talk to Master, just say, bring me the divine friends that are my own, and let him help you. You will find, but don't be a beggar. Just fill your heart. No one wants somebody who's craving. I crave it, I gotta have it. It's not right. Meditate more yourself. Get strong in yourself. And then you'll attract a strong relationship, a strong friend in your life, not someone, I need somebody to, you don't need anybody, you need God. And learn to be more alone, more quiet, more, and I don't mean a quiet with the television on, I mean really deep inside yourself, more doing japa, more chanting, singing, and you'll find that you fill that void.
Dhyanaji, the next question is, I want to feel loved and feel people don't give as much as I want to have. What should I do?
I think it's the same, isn't it? That the more you give, the more you receive, isn't it so? if you're not giving anything, you won't receive anything back. Like Swamiji said, you have a thimble cup. That's all you can get is that much in that thimble. But if you, here's what I remember with Swamiji. He asked, he didn't outwardly ask, but you knew he really wanted you to give your all. I learned how to give my all. And I remember once we were doing some programs, and many times there were huge mistakes. Somehow we got better and better. But I remember one time Swamiji said to this group of us who was helping him, he says to somebody else, why do we have to have this B team here? Where's the A team? And I just thought, I am never going to be on the B team anymore. I'm going to give my all. So with friends, if you give your all, you get back. And if you give without thinking, oh, I gave and he never even wrote a note. He never said anything to me about it. I gave all that money and I never got even a thank you or whatever it is. If it's without desire and attachment, Divine Mother gives you back in one way or another, and she fills your heart.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. We have two more questions.
Okay.
First is, I lost a dear friend to COVID and still feel the loss. How can I go on in my life without them? It is really difficult.
That's hard. And I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not easy. It takes time. What I did, I remember once someone very dear to me passed many times, but one time in particular, I chanted for weeks. Nobody could really comfort me or talk with me, or no scripture would help, no talks would help. Chanting really healed my heart. So chanting, the music, try it. You have to try different things. There's no one easy answer. I remember when my grandmother died, and I still am very close to her, and she died like, I don't know, 35 years ago. But we were very close, but I was serving in Italy at the time, and I couldn't get back for the funeral, and I just felt terrible. I cried for days. But then, you know what lifted me up? The astral ascension ceremony. It finally came in my mind. Swamiji had written it by then, and I thought, I'm going to do the astral ascension ceremony. And it was just me and one other person. But as soon as I was done with that ceremony, I just felt helped. And maybe it linked us. You need to link on a deeper level. I think that's the answer. Not the same. It's never going to be the same, but that soul and your soul can keep linked. And like with Swamiji's not with us in the body, but I feel him all the time. Don't we feel master? I feel master all the time. So try to get it on a deeper level, and you'll find that it's even better, much better.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. The final question, I'm just speaking it out. It's not from me.
Okay.
How do I find my soulmate in this life? I want to marry and spend my life with someone who I have a deep connection with.
Okay, now I saw this question ahead, and I'm going to tell you what Swamiji said. I found something from Swamiji. I'll read it to everybody because it has everything in it. It's pretty brief. Swamiji says, men and women are attracted to each other in order to develop within themselves that which they lack, in order to become full. We are all souls, which essentially have no sex at all. But when the soul is first manifested, it is manifested in dual, just as everything else in creation is manifested in duality. So every soul will have its own counterpart, our twin or twin soul. One of the halves of the twin soul would manifest the masculine side, and one the feminine side. A part of the goal of life is eventually to unite these two parts of our own duality. The subject of soulmates is something that Paramhansa Yogananda ji didn't touch on much, because he said people end up thinking that every time they see anybody on a street corner that they like, it's got to be my soulmate. Yogananda said that in fact, your soulmate need not at all even be of the opposite sex in this present incarnation. He or she may not be somebody you even like. There is something on a deeper level that only when you're on that level are you able to meet and benefit from a tie or union with the other half of your twin soul. Otherwise, on an outward level, there can be many understandings and all sorts of difficulties. Your soulmate could even be on another planet. But what happens is that eventually, if it happens in a vision, you would unite with that soulmate, and this positive and negative canceling out would result finally in samadhi, or uniting yourself with all creation. Then you will merge back into the infinite. Your soulmate is something that quite clearly you do not need to look for. Look for God, and whatever is to come to you will come.